Hello, welcome everybody to this evening's wellbeing conversation. My name is Dr. Bobby Sura. I'm a consultant clinical psychologist, systemic psychotherapist, director at Solihull Wellbeing Clinic. This is one of our regular series of wellbeing conversations. We cover all sorts of topics, reflexology, hypnotherapy, coaching, so many different things, Asperger's syndrome and so on. Today, we're going to be talking about a therapy called Hijama. Hijama is a form of cupping, or an Arabic name, I believe, for cupping therapies. And we're going to be joined by two experts in their field from an organization called Hijama Nation. And I'm going to be bringing on Muddassar Raja and also Amaar, who are co-partners, co-directors within their organization, Hijama Nation. So today is going to be an opportunity to hear about what is Hijama, how does it help, who is it useful for, what can it do for you, and what are some of the origins of Hijama. So without further ado, let's invite in Muddassar and Amaar. Hello. Oh, we seem to have lost for a second. She may turn up in a moment, but with us, I can see you. Welcome.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for having us.
Lovely to see you today and have you here on the screen. And welcome, We lost your image for a few moments, but you're back. Nice to see you. So, you are from Hijama Nation. And the first question, I suppose, Muddassar, I wanted to ask you is, what is Hijama? Am I right? Is it an Arabic name? And what does it stand for? Please share.
Yes, it's Arabic name Hijama, and you probably heard of cupping lately. It's been getting very popular.
Yes.
So cupping is form of Hijama, or Hijama is part of cupping. There are many different kind of cupping. So mainly two separate categories: wet cupping and dry cupping.
Yes.
You've probably seen a lot of celebrities these days. Even the other day, Dwayne Johnson had it done. Many athletes, Michael Phelps, Anthony Joshua. So they mainly do fixed cupping, which is applying the cups and just using that as a therapy. And Hijama is called wet cupping, which means that you have to take surgical blade and make very shallow, small incisions, and then use the suction of the cup to draw out the blood. That specifically is Hijama cupping.
I see. Yes, and celebrities have definitely used hijama. I was reading also about people like Michael Phelps, who was an Olympic swimmer. Also, I think Gwyneth Paltrow made it quite famous. She appeared with some circular rings on her body during an event of some kind, and that was back in 2004. So I think you're right that celebrities and athletes have certainly made it very popular, haven't they? And how long have you been practicing hijama through Hijama Nation?
I guess I'll let Amaar lead. So
Sure.
for the audience, we're husband and wife. So she's the one who started the journey. So I'll let her lead that.
Sure. Thank you, Muddassar. Yes, please share. When did you start with hijama? Oh, we can't hear you. Is your audio muted maybe by any chance? No, we've lost.
Are you on mute? All right. So I'll start till
Sure.
she comes back.
Please, please.
So about 10 years ago, we started the journey. Amaar is into holistic therapies. She had qualification in many therapies. So at that time, we were living in America. So she
Mm-hmm.
came to visit her family in the UK, and
Yes.
she came across Hijama Cupping. So she found out it's an Islamic therapy,
Yes.
specifically hijama. So
Mm-hmm.
she was like, okay, I know all the other therapies, including Indian head and Chinese and different cultures, but I haven't heard about hijama cupping, so let me check it out. So
Mm-hmm.
she did, I think, 1 day course first, and
Uh-huh.
she loved it, and she went for diploma course and qualification.
Uh-huh.
And after her qualification, she came back to the US, and she started treating the family and the community. And when I saw the benefits, and when I heard the case studies and the results, so I was into athletics and sports and health as well. So
Uh-huh.
even though I was at that time, I was property investor in the US.
Uh-huh.
um, I started learning hijama. So that is when Amaar started, and then shortly after that, I got into it. And then we set up a clinic. We start treating people. We've been invited to masajid and universities and
Mm.
different towns to speak. But there were a lot of people who didn't have access to it, and they didn't know about it. And that is when we decided to put together our course, and then we launched our course. So yeah, about 10, 11 years.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I do apologize. Yeah. Please carry on. So you put together your course and started to train other people in this
Yes.
modality.
So what the course Umar did and myself, it was online. And
Uh-huh.
because it was online, we just followed the model. Because if we didn't do it online, we wouldn't think it was possible to learn and teach a medical therapy online. But because
Yes.
we had been qualified through that, so we decided to launch it online because we were getting queries from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to reach as many people as possible. So that's how we started the course. At that time,
Oh, I think we've frozen. Muddassar's frozen this time. How's your sound? Are you able to? Can we hear you now?
I can
We
hear.
are. Okay. Yeah, you froze briefly, Muddassar. Sorry. Please carry on. Your screen and audio froze for a few seconds. So sorry to interrupt you. Please carry on.
I think there's connection problem.
Yeah, there's something not quite right, but we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah. So you started to develop a training course in Hijama, and how long have you been going, Muddassar, with the training course?
Yeah, I
Has
think
it been a few
shortly
years
after
now?
we started practice. Sorry?
Yeah. How long have you been training other people in this approach?
Yeah, I think after a year of treating people and with demand, we started training. We came up with our course, and it's almost been around 9 years now.
I see. I see. Okay. So, Muddassar, give me a flavor, or if she can get onto the audio. I'm not sure if the technical issues are resolved. But give me a sense of who hijama is for. Is it good for any age group, male, female? Do you have to be an athlete? Uh, what sort of population of people come to you for hijama cupping?
Basically, it's the concept behind hijama is cleansing and detox. As any other natural therapy, it's preventative mainly. But
Yes.
after people, get sick, you can resolve those problems as well. So hijama, we have seen, that is why actually I left my property business to get involved in hijama, because we have seen physical, emotional, mental, spiritual benefits.
Right.
So whether it's a long-term chronic ailment, or it's just a muscular issue, or if it's just like tiredness, lack of energy, to even, bodybuilders use it to bring blood circulation to certain muscles.
Yes.
So, I mean, because there is, we draw out some blood, so we have to make sure that, if, elderly, who have blood producing issues, or, they're not able to build blood fast, or, anemic, even though, it's strange that even though you're taking out blood, it treats anemia as well. But obviously, those are the people you have to be a little bit careful about. But it's basically almost all ages. Other day, my son had asthmatic attack. He's only 9-year-old, and I performed hijama on him, and he was better right away. So there is no restriction in terms of gender or age, but there are some contraindications based on certain ailments.
Yes. Yes, I understand. So, any age group, 9-year-olds, even older people, and the kind of treatment involves, you're saying, some sort of release of blood, some sort of, so I suppose you have to be very careful around infection control and cleanliness of the environment and so on. This is a very key part of it, right?
Yeah.
So have you ever had any sort of side effects, or things generally well cared for through the approach?
Yes, I mean, like I mentioned, some contraindication. I think the main thing you have to be careful about, because when you're drawing out the blood, or the suction of the cups,
Yes.
it affects your blood sugar level, affects your blood pressure level.
Okay. Yes. Oh, we seem to
Some
have,
practitioners are not very experienced.
yes.
Who are not very experienced, they may not, like the client may take medication empty stomach and then come to treatments. So it may be, diabetes medication or blood pressure medication, and when empty stomach, and obviously the effect is stronger on the body, and then you apply the hijama on top of that, the person may faint because of blood sugar level, blood pressure. So those are the kind of side effects which are like, can be remedied by precautions. But other than that, it leaves some, circular marks, as you have seen.
Yeah, we see those in the photographs, and yeah.
Yeah, so they go away in 3-4 days. So even the incisions, they're very light and shallow. So we haven't seen any. We have thousands of students around the world. We haven't seen any infection issue, because the incision is supposed to be very light, and it feels like scratches.
I
A person
see.
gets the treatment done doesn't even feel the actual incisions.
Okay.
We haven't seen the infection issue, but obviously it leaves some marks for a week or so.
Hmm.
and then it goes away.
Okay, that's lovely. And Muddassar, am I right that cupping originates? You can date back to Egyptian times, ancient Egyptian times, and also ancient Chinese medicine. Um, am I right? Am I situating the cupping and hijama therapies in the right sort of civilization and time periods? What do you think? Is it does it sort of seem to come from Egypt and China, or does it have roots elsewhere also?
Yes, it's in the last documented uh, studies was from Egypt, which
Uh-huh.
dates back thousands of years, and it is an
Uh-huh.
ancient treatment, and almost all of the cultures have
Yeah.
it. Like even when we speak to our elders, and even though we call it cupping, and they have different names, and they say, yeah, our grandmother used to do this.
Oh.
So it has roots in Egypt, China. Um, for Muslims, when Prophet Muhammad emphasized on it, and he even called it, the best treatment in our scriptures, in our
Oh
hadith, in
wow.
his sayings, and that is why Muslims, hijama has a special status, um, even of worship,
Uh-huh.
by following the teachings of the Prophet. So that is why we are very passionate about it, because it was emphasized
Mm.
in our scriptures. But I think even in Bible, it talks about cupping. But yes, it almost actually in Finland they have
Mm.
saunas where they do cupping as well. They call it cup house.
Okay.
So there are many
Okay.
clinics in the modern day Finland, but in Russia, it's quite popular. A lot of senior acupuncturists, they do wet cupping. Dry cupping is quite popular anyway, even
Yes.
in the US now. But it's the
Hmm.
wet cupping that we feel is much more powerful, um, and it's actually catching on as well.
Yes, yes, it's lovely. I mean, I was looking, doing a bit of research myself, and I came across a study by Qureshi et al. Qureshi 2017, so it's 3 or 4 years old now, but it was published in the Journal of Integrative Medicine. You might have come across it, but they reviewed. It was a narrative review of 83 different articles on the subject, um, and they were saying that there's a good evidence base and that cupping's been around for a long time, but it fell out of favor in the 17th century, mid 18th century, but it's had a bit of a resurgence in recent times. Is that right?
Studies recently. Um, the issue is that who's gonna take time out to fund and actually do the studies. So we mainly rely on the actual case, uh, because we have about 2,500,
Oh,
and each
right.
student have to do 5 6 case studies, 5 6 clients.
Hmm.
So we have like thousands of case studies that we have access to, and in those case studies, we see most remarkable things happening every single day. So I guess till someone is ready to fund the actual, deeper level studies, because it actually affects you on the emotional level, spiritual level, mental level. Um, so obviously it has a lot of different facets, and it will be amazing for someone to actually be able to figure out all the mechanism of them.
Yeah, yeah. Like many alternative or complementary therapies, because big pharmaceutical companies aren't involved. I know things like yoga, tai chi, mindfulness. They're all trying to demonstrate their effectiveness in terms of what they can do, but there isn't the mass funding that a lot of the pharmacological companies and medicinal sciences can muster. So some of these different approaches aren't given as much exposure. But clearly, the people that you work with and the kind of reports they give you, what they're talking about in terms of the effectiveness, that carries some weight in itself. We call them single case designs, or case studies within other forms of psychology, and smaller scale studies in medicine and so on also. But I was reading with us that some of the things that Hijama cupping therapies can help with. Tell me if this list is what you would endorse, and whether you would add anything. But sometimes fevers are treated in this way, chronic back pain, and pain through chronic exertion. So that's where the athletes come in. Menstrual pains and cramps, even things like heightened blood pressure, rehabilitation for stroke victims. Infertility. Now, I know at Solihull Wellbeing Clinic, where I work, we get quite a number of people calling in about cupping therapies, and they're asking about fertility issues. So that always surprises me. So it'd be good to hear from you on that. Indigestion is another one. Are these kind of symptoms and difficulties that you recognize and would have named also? Oh, I think you're frozen. Here you are.
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
We focus on treating the body as opposed to the disease, right? So when we are so when we are treating the body, so everything is linked. And let's take the blood, it's the river of life. It takes the oxygen, the nutrients. So basically, that's every single thing. And when you're dealing directly with the blood, and you're removing possibly the toxic blood from your body, improving blood circulation, improving absorption of oxygen and absorption of nutrients. So in that way, the whole body, whether it's immune system, gets better, and then the whole body gets better. So we don't really, anytime, especially in our house, that's what we teach as well. Anytime any problem comes up, whether it's a muscular issue, whether lack of energy, whether headaches, or whether, like I mentioned, my son had asthmatic attack. So we kind of believe in, every single problem that you have, try it. And then we are also listed as holistic therapy, because we don't neglect or look down upon any other therapy. So depending on person's condition, then we recommend them other therapies to, for example, someone has structural issues, so we would still perform possibly moving, cupping, and hijama on the person, but then we'll probably send you to a chiropractor or something like that. So we have seen all the things you have mentioned. We have seen people getting pregnant after 20 years, only after one session. Someone suffering migraine for like last 10, 20 years, and only one session, the migraine gets better. But generally speaking, obviously, our goal is to bring them to peak health. So we don't only rely on just one session. We tell them to keep coming back and keep getting better, and possibly get rid of all your medication.
Okay. I like the way you described it, that you're not treating disease, you're treating the person, and you also described, Muddassar, that it's a holistic approach. So you're treating the body, but also the emotions, and also sounds as though it's also a very spiritual practice, given that it's mentioned in the hadiths, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he also endorsed it. So I always wondered why it was so popular in the Islamic community, actually, because it's practiced, and a lot of the inquiries tend to come from fellow Muslims and so on. So we've been having some technical problems with your audio. Are you able to talk to us now? I'm not sure. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
This is fantastic.
so I'm really, getting off because you're breaking.
Oh,
Sure what
yeah. Your audio is still quite choppy. In fact, it's quite difficult to hear you. So I'm not sure whether
okay.
we might have to. Yeah, you can try once more, see if we can hear you clearly.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a bit better. Is there anything that you would add to what we've been saying about hijama cupping?
Yes, I think it's a really important point for us. I'm not sure if Muddassar already covered this because I missed some of the call. But just
Oh,
to
yes.
reiterate that hijama cupping therapy is practiced by Muslims, Muhammad be upon him. But essentially it's a treatment for all of mankind. It's for all races and religions, and it's been practiced by everybody. So when we're
Yes.
teaching it and we're treating people, it doesn't matter if you're Muslim or non-Muslim. Everybody's welcome,
Yes.
and it's a healing therapy for everybody. We like to make sure that everyone
Yes.
is aware of that. Essentially, there's no difference between Chinese cupping, for example, or hijama cupping. The wet cupping therapies, the applications are exactly the same. So it's just important to differentiate that they are the same practical treatment. It's just hijama differs because of the spiritual aspect. And it's true, even though we've got great results on a physical or a scientific level, it's very difficult to explain the spiritual and emotional side. And I know that your mental professional deals with these emotions. Unfortunately, with hijama, you can't quantify that when you compare data from treats it. We find that our clients who are suffering from mental health issues just feel so much better after. They feel stronger. They feel much more positive, experience clarity. So that's one thing.
Yeah, it's gone choppy again, I do apologize. It's hard to hear you towards the end of what you were saying, but I was picking up that it helps with many aspects and people report positives. Yeah.
Yeah, so like just Muddassar was saying about it being a holistic treatment, and we've really pushed for that because we feel, that we want to treat the whole person, mind, body, and soul. And hijama is very good for neurological and mental health conditions for sure.
So I was talking to Muddassar about stroke rehabilitation. Is that something you've come across in your practice?
Yes, I've actually treated several clients with stroke, primarily my own father who had a severe left body stroke. He recovered from it very well. It's very good for owning the that to be really helpful for all of the clients who are It's very good just to muscular issues. And then when we're doing the hijama, it helps with the stroke because it enables oxygenation around the body, it increases the circulation, and then that makes the client feel much better and they're able to function properly.
Right.
So yeah, we've treated a lot of people with
many benefits, and we're running out of time now. We're in the last sort of 30 seconds, 45 seconds or so. But if people wanted to, I don't know, train in hijama, I know you offer training, and if they wanted to access hijama cupping, can they do that locally? Is that possible with Hijama Nation?
Yes, at this time, because of the COVID situation, we have completely gone online. So we used to have some local classes, every 2-3 months. But because of the COVID situation, the entire system has gone online. Is working well. In the near future, we may open the actual practical classes locally, but we still do, live classes with one of our instructors over the Skype, and we have students in over 30 or 40 countries now. So online model working great. So even local students can still do it online with us.
Good. Well, that's lovely. I wanted to thank you all for coming on, taking your time, sharing so much information about hijama, and perhaps we can have a conversation again at another time. So thank you, Muddassar. Thank you, I hope you've enjoyed talking about hijama cupping.
Thank you very much for inviting us along us to share our message.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you, Muddassar. And thank you. We've lost your image again, but we know you're there. So for those of you that are watching these, or you may tune back in through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, we have various channels on which we put out these well-being conversations. If you'd like to contribute, you have something you'd like to share around the well-being space, or indeed if you just want to tune in to more of these sessions, we operate on a Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Next week, we are going to be joined by David Derbyshire. He is part of Asperger's Heroes. It's a local organization. And he's going to be talking about Asperger's, which is what we used to refer to as high functioning autism is the term we use nowadays. But Asperger's is still very much a well-used word. So we'll be talking about Asperger's, high-functioning autism next week. Do please tune into that. You can follow us on Facebook. And this has been Solihull Wellbeing Clinic. Thank you for watching. See you soon.